Bismillah al-Rahman al-Rahim. So yeah, in the Bismillah, this is an example of such a case where we have this Allahian declaration. I'm going to keep calling it that until it becomes a thing, where we have the definite article twice. And like with all the other ones where we're told, no, we have to read them as separate standalone names, what we're told is, okay, so these are two different names, two of many, but they're in the Bismillah, they're potentially the two best ones or whatnot, right? So here we have Bismillah al-Rahman. So we see again, we have the highlights here over the al on the right side in front of Rahman, and then al on the left side here in front of Rahim. So this is traditionally understood to be two separate but equal names of Allah. Okay, fair enough. But the thing is here...
I'll just actually jump in for a second. We know that this is supposed to be read Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, but we will say Al-Rahman, Al-Rahim, pronouncing the Alif Lam very clearly, because people listening, they will probably not actually speak Arabic. So that's not how it is pronounced in the Arabic. The Lam doesn't get pronounced. We know that, but we are going to pronounce it, make it very, very clear that we are pronouncing that definite article, because most people watching, they will not speak Arabic. So I just wanted to make that clear. Sorry, Kash, you can carry on.
Right, it's the same with Surah An-Nisa, where they have the AN instead of the AL in pronunciation, right? But yeah, we're making it just clear, that way an English-speaking audience is familiar. And to put some foundation here, we've went through before about the Aramaic origins, the Syro-Aramaic origins of the Quranic text. And so to build upon that, the definite article, we looked at it in the English being the, and in the Arabic being al. But now to build further on that, the Aramaic, so also the Syriac being a dialect of Aramaic, the way that they put their definite articles is quite unique for English speakers, because we have the in front. What they do in the Aramaic is that they have the definite article as the suffix. That is to say, instead of saying al-Rahman, or again, ar-Rahman, fine, they would put Rahmana or Rahmanan, because the definite article, the alif at the end of a word indicates the an sound added to the end of the word. That's how it works in the Arabic today, right? So, but the point here is to illustrate is that this from the top line here to the pre-da, meaning definite article, this is how, hypothetically, the text would have originally have been in the Aramaic language, not necessarily the Aramaic script. The Arabic script looking like this, because it would have potentially been the Syriac script or whatnot. But these definite article cases would have originally actually been a ending alif suffix rather than the alif lam prefix.
We could have used here the Aramaic script, but then it confuses matters. So we kept it in the Arabic script. We know it's not supposed to be, but just to actually show the point of, you see actually the words and see what happens with the definite article, how it would have been in the earlier form before it becomes Arabic. But yeah, we could have done it with the Aramaic script and it would have been all a mess. So hopefully this helps show clearly what the process would have looked like.
Most people who are looking into the Quranic stuff right now, they barely can read Arabic. We don't want to overcomplicate that by now having everyone need to read Syriac script as well. It's unnecessary. Okay. Right, and what we'll see later here is also that we're doing this intentionally. That way we also see that this form that we're seeing now with the pre-definite article hypothetical here, right, is actually something that we then see later itself in the Rasam of the Quranic text, in the Hafs and also in many others, right? So we'll see that in a second, right? But the point here is that it's just important to know, because of how we've set the foundation that the Quranic text was originally an Aramaic textual tradition, that the way that you would transition grammatically from Aramaic to the Arabic language is to replace the ending aleph, the suffix aleph, with the prefix definite article in the Arabic of alif lam. That's important to know. That's basically it.
Which then also means that the definite articles, the Arabic definite articles in the Quran, they would all have been well, inserted. They had to be created. Assuming that the full Quran was first Aramaic, it could have been that some sections could have been Arabic or maybe even other languages. Based on what we have seen so far, at least to me, it looks like it was the whole thing was in Aramaic, perhaps in different dialects, but Aramaic nonetheless. I haven't come across any section that I could say, oh look, this was Arabic from the 7th century. It looks like it was Aramaic. We just put that caveat in case that there are any sections in there which they were just written in Arabic to begin with. Those, of course, they would have just written what they wanted, but otherwise, the majority of the work would have been in Aramaic, either spoken or written. And the step of Arabizing that script, it would certainly have required them to remove the ending aleph from the Aramaic and then add the alif lam in the Arabic. So all, or pretty much the majority, if not all, of the definite articles in the Quran were added late because they must have. And we see how that creates quite a few problems. We will talk about a couple of them in a minute, but hopefully that is kind of like clear. The definite articles would have to be added late because they were not there in the original script.
Right.
Oh.
Here's a cool. Oh, sorry, you go ahead, JC.
No, just this slide that we decided to just put here, so for people to see, because it's the one place in the Quran that sticks out like a sore thumb. It's just very unique. There are 8 different names of Allah. In there, you have the translations as per Murad, and it's unusual. You obviously don't have that everywhere. Normally, you have combos of 2 words, and now that we have seen normally you have the noun first and then the adjective, and it seems to be the case. When we look at these combos, we have to reconsider whether it was always meant to be read in this manner, like 8 different nouns, or if this is actually combos. We do have a precedent even in the Bible where we have 8 words right there from Isaiah 9:6, where we will have wonderful, wonderful counselor, mighty God, everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. So we have 8 words, combos of a noun and an adjective. And then we come here to the Quran and we happen to have as well 8 words, and they seem to just be disjointed, as in each and every single one of them is independent. What is it possible that this has been done on purpose? And perhaps the king is the only noun, everything else are adjectives to that king? Or is it combos of 2? Did the translators don't want us to read the continuously holy king as an option associated to Allah? Because people would say, hang on a minute, that sounds like someone else I know. Is it different combos? So we wanted to show this, to put it out there, to say maybe this is not read in this manner as 8 different titles, but it is something else. What do you think? Are you able to unpick it from the Arabic to know exactly what the author originally intended? Yep, Kash, do you agree with that?
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, so I definitely agree. I think what's very interesting about this case is simply the formula. It has the same formula effectively as Isaiah 9:6. Linguistically, there's a case that's a bit complicated here, but the fact that we have effectively 8 different words that form 4 titles as pairs of 2 in Isaiah 9:6 here, that we see something similar in Surah 59. It's quite interesting, but it becomes a bit difficult to combine them as pairs of 2, right? Because if you say, okay, the Holy King makes total sense, Al-Malik Al-Qudus totally makes sense, but then the peace, the believer, would be strange. What, the believing peace? Oh, weird. The hegemonic, the deer hegemon. It doesn't work, right? But again, this is taking the most authentic and reliable translation we have, which is the Murad, Saint Murad's translation. But even that is not quite enough to really get the full picture, because we're still assuming at this point, when taking the Murad, that we are dealing with an Arabic original textual tradition, but we are not. Like we've said before, what we're dealing with here is an eventual Arabic textual tradition that found its origins in a Syro-Aramaic textual tradition. So potentially, and this would be an analysis that I could also do, I just haven't done it yet, and we would implore anyone in the audience to do it themselves, but this is an analysis that anyone could do. You just take this verse in question, you look at all of the different roots of the Arabic words here, consonantally, with also considerations potentially for diacritical misapplications. That means that a nun could be a ba and things like this, right? And you look at all the roots and you try to figure out, okay, maybe this meant this meant this, and you do a robust analysis using large language models and doing a root analysis where you then look at that root's meaning across the different Semitic languages. So you would look at the meaning in the Hebrew, look at the meaning in the Aramaic, and the Aramaic dialect of Syriac, then the Arabic, and then potentially even the Ethiopic to get a big picture. But yeah, so anyone can do this analysis and try to figure out, okay, what exactly are we dealing with here? Because the very sin narrative, the standard Islamic narrative explanation is, no, it just means like 8 different standalone titles, and we're just padding the list from, I guess, 91 to 99, maybe, who knows. But yeah, so there's something off there. But let's not belabor the point too much.